This morning, in honor of Rabbi Deborah and Rabbi Igor's Aufruf, I'm delighted to welcome to the Bima Rabbi Dr. Charles Middleburgh, Dean of Leo Baeck College, teacher, scholar, writer, poet, and lover of big cats. In Pirkei Avot, we read the words, which actually you echoed in your words, Deborah, a little earlier, Aseh lecha rav, uknei lecha chaver. Find yourself a teacher and get yourself a friend. 5 years is a long time to spend training to be a rabbi, but I know there are two things that sustain the life of a rabbinic student: their teachers and their friends. Igor and Deborah, you found each other, but it is also true to say that in Rabbi Dr. Middleburgh, you found both a teacher and a friend, and an utterly committed supporter of your rabbinate. For you, Charles, more important than all the honor I could bestow upon you with my words of welcome, is that you are giving the sermon this morning, as you wrote to me, at your beloved and Igor and Deborah's request. Let me welcome you to the Bima.
As all of us here are aware, tomorrow is a very special day, a day of moment and significance. Why? Well, I could take half an hour explaining, but I will keep it brief. August the 28th is the day in 1655 when New Amsterdam and Peter Stuyvesant barred Jews from military service. It is the date in 1789 when the great astronomer William Herschel discovered Saturn's moon Enceladus. It is the date in 1884 when the first known photograph of a tornado was taken in Howard, South Dakota. And it is the date in 1963 when the American civil rights leader Martin Luther King gave the speech for which history will long remember him, and known as "I Have a Dream." These and countless other historical anniversaries and events invest the 28th of August with significance in the broadest terms, but they fail to touch most of us unless they connect with a specific personal interest. In any case, uppermost in all our minds today is the fact that tomorrow, Deborah and Igor will make the 28th the date of their wedding anniversary for many years to come. I was standing at my window at Leo Baeck College a few years ago, and I noticed Igor and Deb standing together, preparing for the life-endangering crossing of East End Road. And as they waited, I saw them lean together and touch. It lasted but a second, but it was the clearest indication that something was going on between them. As I liked them both very much, it was a sight that gave me enormous pleasure, but I didn't cry or ask them outright. When they told me they were a serious item, I was thrilled. And when they rang to tell me they were getting married, it was a moment of great joy at a time of immense sadness in my own life. And now, here we all are. The Aufruf before, the chuppah after. Your Shabbat Sidra, Re'eh, is massive, and if perused in its entirety, reads like a mashup of other parashiot, particularly Kedoshim and Emor in Leviticus. It's also always worth reminding ourselves that the final book of the Torah, Devarim, is presented as being part of a momentous and monumental final speech to the Israelites by Moses. So the congruence of a large part of Moses' peroration with the anniversary of King's greatest speech is a happy coincidence, and for me, too good an opportunity to miss. But, dearly beloved, as the three of us know, it is never the entirety of a speech, or indeed a sermon, that listeners remember. Merely, if the speaker is lucky, a sentence or two. And where great orators are concerned, the remembered sentence comes to stand for the whole thing. When contemplating the 126 verses of Parashat Re'eh, we can make broad brush references to what is in it, and one or two of the verses may, because of how they say what they say, stick firmly in our minds. For me, the verse that sticks is 12:23. Rak chazak levilti achol hadam, ki hadam hu hanafesh, v'lo tochal hanefesh im habasar. When you kill an animal for food, make a big effort not to consume its blood. Ki hadam hu hanafesh, because the blood is the life. As we know, the Hebrew word nefesh is capable of a number of meanings. It stands inter alia for personhood, the essence of a human being, and also soul, arguably the same thing. So we might interpret the stricture against consuming the blood of an animal we intend to eat as forbidding the effective consumption of the entire creature, literally leaving nothing to remain. It reminds me of the ways in which Native American shamans operated, and of the respect for creatures felt by many indigenous peoples, even when they had to kill them for food. It is an echo of the interconnectedness of all life and the impact the loss of one may have on all. When people think of Martin Luther King's great prophetic speech at the Lincoln Memorial in 1963, they recall the paragraphs that began with, "I have a dream," with which he built his crescendo, especially his citation of Isaiah chapter 40, verses 4 and 5. But there are other diamonds to be mined. Now is the time, said King, to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. He went on, we must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. King speaks here of the power of the nephesh, the force of the soul, with its moral core and certainty. When I read these words, I feel a double shiver down my spine, because I view King as a latter-day prophet, and when he speaks, I feel reverberations of Isaiah, Amos, and Jeremiah. I know, Debs, Igor, that each of you is imbued with soul force that sustains you and motivates you in the work you do and in your openness to the needs of other people. I know that the palpable love you have for each other touches and moves those who are close to you. I'm inclined today to paraphrase the biblical verse I mentioned and say, Ha'ahava zeh hanefesh. It is love that is the essence of a person. It is love which enshrines one's personality, love which sustains you when the pressures of the world threaten to become unbearable, love which comes to define you and the person you aspire to be. Tolstoy put it much better than I when he wrote in War and Peace, "Love hinders death. Love is life. Everything that I understand is only because I love." Everything is, everything exists only because I love. Everything is united by it alone. You will indulge me, I hope, if to the Torah, Tolstoy, and Martin Luther King, I add Shakespeare. Because an occasion such as this, and the love you share, demands the words of arguably his greatest sonnet, which is glorious in its pshat, thought-provoking in its drash, subversively brilliant in its remez, and unforgettable in its sod. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. Debs, Igor, may God smile upon your future. May you be sustained by your love for each other, and through your love for each other, may you be a source of encouragement and creativity to the family and friends who love you, and the congregations you will inspire. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will. Amen.